everyone, and welcome back. I am the Sovereign, and welcome to my court. The closed door, typically closed door interviews, have been released by the official Miss Universe YouTube account, and we are only getting to see the top 16. However, I am grateful. Thank you, Miss Universe organization, for seeing the good in releasing these videos, because I have always advocated for that, because I really think the fans and the girls need to understand what's happening behind the scenes. I think they need to understand the type of questions. They need to understand what these girls are being put through. They need to see it. So I understand why they decided to do the top 16 and only the top 16. And even though I personally wish I could see all of the closed door interviews, I understand why they didn't do it. I guarantee you guys some of these interviews are tragic. I guarantee you guys some of these interviews are very bad. Some of these interviews are just like girls being nervous, girls stuttering, girls saying very bad things. Sometimes they don't realize they're saying bad things and then they say the bad thing and it's like, I can't believe you just said that. So it's part of the Miss Universe organization just trying to protect the contestants from country backlash by what they might have said behind scenes and closed door interview and stuff like that. So I mean, I get it, but God, I wish I could see all the interviews. But from the ones that we are allowed to see, I do think we are able to learn and facilitate growth and prepare future contestants to do even better in the closed door interviews. Now, in these closed door interviews, if you have seen them, even if you haven't, I'll kind of explain for you. These girls are standing up in front of a judging panel and they're really throwing these girls open-ended questions, right? It's giving you an opportunity to take this question wherever you want to take it, talk about almost whatever you want to talk about, and engage and show your personality. The reason that these judges give open-ended questions is for you to feel comfortable and be able to express yourself freely. They'll give you questions later on that'll kind of box you in to kind of challenge you a little bit, and the better you are, the more the judging panel might try to challenge you, because they're like, I wonder how far I can push this girl because I'm just curious at her depth of knowledge. So if they're giving you hardballs, it's likely a good thing. But open-ended questions of just asking about your history, your past, your outfit should be very comforting and easy for a competitor. If you are coming off shaky and scared at a simple question about your outfit, the judging panel is easily going to be like, sis, you are not going to survive an E! Entertainment Network interview, okay? We cannot put her in front of news cameras. She's got to go. And what we really have seen from these interviews is a lot of women's personalities just flourish. I know I'm ranting about Venezuela again. Her personality is better than I ever thought it could be. I saw her closed door interview. I was like, I love her. Her personality is so good. What makes a good closed door interview, for those of you who are seeing interviews for the first time, some of you are. I've seen interviews many times. I've been a part of them. What makes an interview really, really good is being conversational. Feeling like you're sitting there talking with a friend, feeling like you're just engaging with an interesting person. It's that type of energy that makes it really good. It's that type of energy that we want to come out during TV interviews when you're in front of the Daily Show host who I can't remember, Trevor Noah. When you're doing interviews with Trevor Noah, who's very bubbly and happy and friendly, he wants a very personable interview. You have to feel like a real genuine person having a conversation with the judging panel, not necessarily like you're doing a Q&A segment. And we saw this come from a lot of women like Venezuela, who was really kind of chatting with her friends, kind of enjoying herself, smiling, giggling, laughing. It felt like a conversation, not a judging segment. And honestly, I do think Venezuela probably had the best personality, the best conversation ability in the judging panel. Venezuela was great. I would have been so sad to sit on that panel and have Venezuela times up. I would have been like, no, I want to keep talking to her. Wait, sis, who does your hair? Where do you shop at? You want to grab an ice cream later? She seems like that type of girl. She's charming. She's very charming. Now, there are other women that obviously did really well as well. Dominican Republic and Curacao, fabulous. Obviously USA, but are we, come on now. Dominican Republic and Curacao also had that personability, that charm, but they were also very eloquent. And I'm a little bit disappointed with Dominican Republic because she seemed much more at ease in closed door interview than she did on stage. If you guys saw my reaction video, which is fully posted on Instagram, it's been there the whole time. So don't yell at me in the comment section. It's been there. You're late. But During her Q&A segment, those of you who watched the reaction saw me say like her energy was down. She was very monotone. She was unenthusiastic, like she lost that energy completely during Q&A. But closed door interview, she was lively. She was bubbly. Her personality was shining. She was a beacon of brightness. She had this beautiful lavender on. I was like, yes, girl. Why didn't she bring that to stage? Her personality was so much more infectious in closed door interview. Curacao maintained it all the way. Like Curacao seemed so much more comfortable in closed door interview. And then she got on stage and was, got a little flustered. I'm like, oh my God. But seeing these interviews definitely helps people understand what's going on back there and what to expect. The outfit choices, believe it or not, do play a factor, play a role. When you are in a Miss Universe competition or any international pageant competition, you're applying for a job. Closed door interview is your job interview, and you are expected to speak in a way that is conducive to giving a good job interview, but also dress and appear in a way that shows the judging panel that you are ready to be that job. The job of Miss Universe is to be kind of a spokeswoman, spokesmodel, right? Where they're looking for a pretty girl that captures the public's attention because we're very simple creatures. We're attracted to beauty. But once you have that initial attraction and all those eyeballs are on you, you have to have a message to impart to the public. So they're also looking for a woman with something to say, but you have to show up in a way that gives the judging panel an idea of what you're going to look like when you are in front of TV and news cameras, when you're expected to give large televised interviews. They have to get an idea or a vision of you in their head when they think of Miss Universe. They need to be able to look at you and say, I can see her wearing the crown, giving an interview. Dominican Republic did a really good job of this. The way that she was dressed is very respectful. It's fashionable. It's girly. It's different. But at the same time, it's elegant, it's smart. It very much represented the type of woman that you want to be in front of a Miss Universe judging panel. Remember, Miss Universe is looking for a woman that can carry this organization on her back. You are the figurehead of this organization. Everything about you better be put together, better be beautiful, better be like different, better be stunning, better be charming. From head to toe, you have to be very well put together. Every time a Miss Universe contestant or any pageant competitor steps into a closed door interview, they should pretend in their mind they are going into an interview conducted by Miranda Priestly. Miranda Priestly is a character played by Meryl Streep in The Devil Wears Prada.
I asked for clean, athletic, smiling. She sent me dirty, tired, and paunchy.
You have no style or sense of fashion?
Well, I think that depends on what you're...
No. That wasn't a question.
That's why this is what I'm telling you, ladies. Those of you who may be watching this video, every time you go to closed door interview, you better be prepared to be interviewed by Miranda Priestly herself, which means you better stand up straight, your outfit better be sickening, and the things coming out of your mouth better be magical. I mean, you had better be on that level because that is what Miss Universe is expecting. And that's the type of scrutiny a Miss Universe is put under. Miss Universe is not looking for a news anchor. Yes, you may have it on your resume, but they don't want a woman who's going to appear as a news anchor. They don't want a teacher. They want a charismatic, beautiful spokesmodel, a woman who's gorgeous and can speak. Now, I'm bringing up this whole outfit thing and this whole presentation thing. It's a pageant. Presentation does matter. I'm bringing this up because there's a few people who just kind of messed up the presentation part. Okay, here we go. I have to say, I was expecting a little bit more from Australia and Canada, making sure I'm saying the right girls right. I was expecting a little bit more from Australia and Canada. When they made it, to top 16, I'm like, okay, they're interview queens. Their interviews have to be amazing. But when I watched their interview, I kind of did expect more. I was expecting wow, I'm going to fall in love with Canada because that's why she made it to top 16. It's definitely the interview. So I'm watching and I kind of expected more. Australia and Canada kind of felt like a question answer segment. It wasn't conversational. It was very broken up. It kind of sounded like a high school college presentation, not necessarily a conversation that I could envision happening on a major news network. It wasn't that. And I was expecting that, being that I'm pretty sure that's what they got them into top 16, which also made me think, oh my God, how bad were the other interviews? I'm scared. And I'm not like, I know people, look, we make jokes about Canada because Canada, you guys kind of make like the silliest mistakes. It's like, come on, you know better. So that's why we talk about you. But I'm not picking on Canada this time. Like this, I'm not like making fun of you guys, but I do have to discuss this for teaching purposes and just hoping that you do better in the future, okay? I don't remember the competitor's name, and I've told girls this many times. You're not known by your name, you're known by your country, sweetheart. This is why I always say this. So Miss Canada, girl has a lovely, very sweet personality, right? Very sweet and endearing. But what I'm looking at the presentation here right now, this is not becoming of a Miss Universe. And this is a pageant. I have said already how much presentation matters. You can pretend it doesn't all you want, but you're not spending $15,000 on a gown if you didn't think presentation didn't matter. So let's knock those comments off right now. I'm looking at Miss Canada and she's very sweet. I know I've been scripting. I don't script. I don't like doing script, but I am specifically scripting one video where we discuss styling so we can just stop having the mishaps. Miss Canada is presenting and speaks like a very sweet woman. The one thing in styling you don't do is put a very subdued personality in something that is also very subdued. You are emphasizing a trait that she has naturally, and it's overemphasized in this case. You have a very demure, soft-spoken woman wearing white. Wearing white. Why? Why? White is a representation of cleanliness and purity. She already presents that way, so why would you give her something that emphasizes traits she already has? You could have easily put her in a pastel yellow or a blue or a green, something soft, but something that gave her a little bit of liveliness and color. Where was the planning here? On top of the fact that, why is the jacket wrinkled? The jacket is wrinkled. It looks a little bit oversized. The collar, the ruffles coming out of the collar is uneven, and her hair is a mess. I mean, an absolute mess. Now, whoever did her makeup snapped. Her makeup is fire. That skin is a glowing, and those lips are a popping. Her face, everything. But the rest of the styling, hair, jacket, color, the whole thing, who chose that? And I don't think she chose it. She has a whole team behind her. But no, an outfit for an interview should be eye-catching to a point. You don't want to like overdo it, but then we have people like
I am a Hmong girl that born in Laos
who came out in like something that was totally done up, creative and original. Give a contestant something that makes her stand out. Give a contestant something for at least for the judges' eyes to latch onto, because as I was listening to this interview, I felt my mind drifting away. It felt like I was being given a high school presentation that I didn't really want to listen to. And that is not a Miss Universe. A Miss Universe is a woman you are drawn to. A Miss Universe is a woman you want to listen to. Everything about her is like a feast for the eyes, for the ears. It's like a moth or a flame, a fly to a flame or a moth to honey or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't stop. Case in point, what is it? Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico had this amazing outfit with these giant sleeves that I love. You guys know I love off the shoulder. She's got this personality. Her skin's glossy, hair glowing. Everything about her is enchanting, and you're just stuck staring at her for 4 minutes, and then suddenly she disappears, and you're like, wait, come back. Where is she going? I want more. Like you always want to leave people wanting more. I'm watching Miss Canada and I'm like counting the time until it's done, and I shouldn't be doing that, especially to a woman who's honestly very sweet. She's soft-spoken, but she's a nice girl. I don't understand why she wasn't put in something flowery or something elegant, maybe a little pastel chiffon, something a little bit more creative. Why does it look like she was late to her interview and ran down the hall and sprinted down some stairs and jumped into the room right on time? Like, why does she look disheveled? This is the biggest competition in this girl's life. I know that there are girls out there with irons and steamers and lint rollers on hand before they even step into the room. So why is some of these women so far unprepared? Like, there's really no excuse. And that's why I'm like, I don't mean to pick on Canada. Truly, I don't. And Canada shouldn't take it as an insult when I do talk about them. The countries that I don't talk about at all, like never mention, you guys have justification to be mad at me. Finland, Belgium, Lithuania, those are the countries, Belarus, those are the countries that have Singapore. Those are the countries that have the right to be mad at me because I never speak about them. I hardly give them any attention. The fact that I give Canada attention at all means I feel like there's hope for them, and they keep disappointing me by not meeting a certain standard. The moment I stop talking about a country altogether means, as far as my brain is concerned, there's no hope. There's no hope. That's why I don't draw attention, because I don't want the fans looking at you and roasting you. I don't want the fans like, oh my God, this country is tragic and trash. So that's why I'm very reluctant to do reactions or discussions about smaller nations who are unprepared for that type of spotlight. It's because I know the fan base's expectations are much higher than mine. And when they see that you're not meeting it, they're going to drag you for filth. So I do try to give a little attention to outside nations, but I'm very careful about how I do it and when I do it, so it's not overwhelming to the contestants who are unprepared for my presence or the fans' presence all up in their Instagrams or stuff. I do want to give girls from different countries, spotlight. We like talking about you girls, but I do want you to be prepared. I don't want you to have to stomach too much criticism because you just weren't prepared for stage. You weren't prepared for the spotlight. Canada is one country where I feel like there's hope, and they should understand what they're getting themselves into. They're just being lackluster, and it's coming off as laziness, and I don't understand why. I expect better of Canada, so I'm going to keep pushing Canada until they reach the level that Venezuela has. I'm sorry, Venezuela is like my proudest country right now. I'm so happy for Venezuela. Venezuela, I ranted about for years for them to get better. And now that they finally have, I'm so proud. So I'm just like, Canada, I'm going to keep poking you until you get like Venezuela. And then I can say beautiful, wonderful, magical things about you too. But from what I'm looking at right now, I guarantee you the judging table looked at just the presentation of Miss Universe Canada and was like, no. Because honestly, those of you watching this video, those of you in the comment section, can you say with your full chest you would feel comfortable putting Canada on an E! Entertainment red carpet being interviewed by major news networks? Not in the current situation and capacity that I'm viewing from this closed door interview would I subject Miss Canada to that type of scrutiny from the general public. Absolutely not. It's also not a good representation of the Miss Universe organization at all. Even news anchors would not present themselves in the way that Miss Canada has, because her outfit and hair and everything just looks disheveled. News anchors wouldn't do that. So I cannot plausibly hire her for a job as a spokeswoman for my company if she can't even represent herself in the best capacity. You see what I'm saying? It's kind of a no. But we need to understand the importance behind even the little things that come from behind closed door interview. Because it's not only about what you say, it's about how you say and how you present yourself while saying it. I do want to discuss Miss USA very briefly because the first question out of the gate for Arbany was a judge asking Arbany about her controversial Miss USA win and all the news stories and articles and accusations that came from that. And that was very intelligent because the judging panel, knowing the position that Arbany's in, they need to understand how she's going to address these questions if she was crowned Miss Universe, because obviously these questions would arise. And it's very smart on behalf of the judging panel. This is a vetting process. Like I keep saying, this is a job. So the Miss Universe judging panel is vetting a woman for a job, and they need to know how you're going to handle certain circumstances when you are asked. So those girls who are going through controversies or countries that are going through controversies, the judging panel is going to bring that up in your closed door interview so that they understand and know how you're going to address that if you are given the Miss Universe title, i.e. Russia. That is one question that I 100% would have asked Miss Russia, because if she's crowned Miss Universe, that's going to be one of the first questions that any news network is going to ask her, is her position on the Russia-Ukraine war. So everybody who's like, oh, political questions don't matter, they 100% do, because the Miss Universe judges have to know how you are going to handle these political issues when you are out in the real world with other people who are not caring or controlling your interview. They're out there to ask you serious questions. They're not from the organization. They're from news networks who want a soundbite. The judging panel needs to know how you're going to handle tough situations. In Arbany, was presented the question discussing her so-called controversy, and she handled it very well, very eloquently. She didn't shy away from it, didn't brush it off. She handled it with grace. Arbany showed a willingness to engage in discussing this very sore subject that impacted her personally. And that is the behavior of a Miss Universe who is a spokeswoman. And I'm sure that gained her a lot of support amongst the judging panel. And this is why I tell the fan base that the girls do have to be politically aware, because a lot of these questions are left open-ended so that the judging panel can see how far a girl is willing to go within her intellectual abilities and her discussion abilities. They want to know how far you're going to push the topic. One woman was asked, if you could give a TED talk on anything, what would it be? That is an incredibly open-ended question. You can choose anything, which means you can go as far politically as you want. You can talk about your hopes and dreams. You can talk about your family. You are given the opportunity to showcase how far you are willing to take a conversation. Those types of open-ended questions are very easy show-off moments. And ladies, do not be afraid to show off to a judging panel. They're sitting there unabashedly judging you. Give them something to judge. They want to be impressed by you. So when you get an open-ended question, give it all you got. Use your knowledge. Use a book quote. Tell them you read 16 books on like mathematic engineering and learned how to do whatever. Go for it. Show them you have something in your head and in your mouth that you have to impart to the public. I mean, like, some of these questions are such softball answers that softball questions. I'm like, how did some of you not go further with this? Because you could have really knocked some judges out of their socks and shoes. The purpose of this behind closed door interview is just to see what your behavior is going to be like in a public space when cameras are thrown in your face and what's going to come out of your mouth. What are you passionate for? Showcase all of that. A lot of these women did it, and they did it so wonderfully. Like, very conversational, lots of personality. I don't care how smart a person is. If you speak monotone, if you speak with just no charisma whatsoever, no one's going to be able to mentally stand being in your presence. So that's why, like, when fans are in my comment section and they're like, oh, but this girl's so smart, she's really smart, I'm like, I don't care. I don't care how smart you are. If you can't present your ideas in a way that captures an audience, you are of no use to the Miss Universe organization. Every girl that was chosen for top 16 is eloquent, intelligent, and charismatic to a point. Obviously, some women are more charismatic than others. Some women are more personable than others, but I understand why the top 16 was shaped this way. It would help to better understand why the top 16 is the top 16 if we were able to see the other interviews. If we were able to see certain women and then be like, oh, she didn't do so well, or oh, she said this wrong, or oh, she shouldn't have said that, then we understand why the top 16 is chosen. We don't have the full context, but I do understand why the Miss Universe organization held back on that. But I can be very grateful for what they have allowed us to see, and very grateful for the transparency. I think the Miss Universe organization should let loose a little bit more. Trust me, you guys do not have like the notoriety of FIFA. You're not going to face any backlash. Like, you guys could use the publicity. And because Miss Universe is very unknown in certain countries, you guys have the wiggle room to be a bit more free, to have a little bit more fun, you know, make some waves. You guys will be fine. Trust me. I don't want anything to happen to the Miss Universe organization either. That's why I'm such a mouthy critic, is because every time you guys do something wrong, I'm like, oh my God, my precious pageant community is going to come under attack. I must stop it. And it's very hard doing it by myself. So, you know, I'm happy to have the fan base here with me. But thank you for letting us see the closed door interviews so that people understand kind of what's going on behind the scenes, how these girls are behaving, what charisma means, what personality means. So people are like, oh, I get it now, right? These girls are like fun to look at and fun to listen to. Now you're getting it and you understand where the presentation part comes into play. In the comment section, let me know what you think about the closed door interviews. Are you a little bit sad that we don't get to see all of them? Are you one of those weirdos that would totally watch them? I would. It would be such a marathon for me. I'd watch them all, every single one. I don't care how many hours it took. I would. Are you one of those people? Who was your favorite closed door interview? Honestly, I think my favorite was Venezuela. I'm sorry. I think she was my favorite. Like, she's so fun to listen to. I love her. But who's your favorite? Who's your favorite outfit? Let me know what you think. Do you think these were easy questions? Were you surprised at what you heard? Behind closed door interviews, do you want to see all of the closed door interviews? Are you happy with the transparency of the Miss Universe organization? Give us your thoughts, because you have my ears and my eyes. I will be watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Find me on Instagram, especially if you haven't seen the reaction, because I was very emotional. Okay, I was. And remember, I love you and I will miss you, but you know I will be back in a future video. Bye!